Welcome to the Boxing Talk Show. Fair but firm with the Hall of Fame boxing referee. I'm Joe Cortez and co-host John Zamel for all of Las Vegas. Come on, guys. Let's touch them up. Street fight. I'm Joe Cortez. Fair but firm.
Welcome to the Fair but Firm Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the boxing capital of the world. When I say the boxing capital, you know, this time is really buzzing this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We have a big fight, Canelo Alvarez and Danny Jacobs. They are going to be showing who's the best pound for pound at the 160-pound division. Danny Jacobs, the Miracle Man, is a cancer survivor, and he's really a champion inside the ring, outside the ring. And he's going to try to show Canelo that he's the best man. Now, we remember that Danny Jacobs fought Gennady Golovkin a while back, about almost 2 years ago, and a lot of fans to this day still feel that he beat Triple G.
Yeah, even with the knockdown.
Yeah, and Triple G was he gave Canelo some tough fights. A lot of
He
people
sure did. Two of the best fights we've seen in recent years.
Two of the best fights, and a lot of fans felt that Canelo lost both fights.
Yeah, a lot of fans did.
But anyway, the thing is, they're going to be an interesting match tonight. I talked to Danny Jacobs a couple of months ago. I interviewed him about the Canelo fight when they got signed up. He said, Joe, we were surprised that he accepted us as his next opponent because he is the most dangerous opponent at the middleweight division.
Yeah, he appears to be right now.
For Canelo. Sure. But, you know, Canelo is a very hungry fighter, has a lot of talent, good body puncher, good defensive fighter.
He's pretty much as complete a boxer as he can be.
Yeah, and very aggressive. So tonight going to be a fight to watch, and going to be on DAZN, and a lot of fans feel like this is going to be a fight that going to be down in the books of one of the better middleweight fights in many years.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is, look, Canelo's last two fights that matter were the last two fights against Triple G, and those, I believe, we ranked as the fight of the year 2 years running in our show. And there's a reason for that. It's because his style makes insanely exciting fights. Come forward, move backwards. He can, he can attack. He can counterpunch. He, like you said, huge body puncher. You're not safe anywhere, whether you're in his corner or he's in yours. It's just he's as exciting as a fighter as you can find. And Danny Jacobs is too. He wears it all on his sleeve. He goes out swinging. He's incredibly emotional and incredibly talented. Not to mention his story is as exciting as you could possibly ask for. But I want to start back from your very first sentence when you said boxing capital of the world, because we say that every week. But it feels like it again, doesn't it? Because the last two pay-per-views have been that we've had this year have been in L.A. and New York. So it's nice to have one back home again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when I said boxing capital of the world, I mean, I was around last night. We had an event.
Here we go.
We had an event last night. Hublot Watch. They had a fundraiser for Jose Sulaiman, fundraiser for the WBC, and they raised $1.2 million last night. And being there last night, I mean, all the fans that were there, all the boxing fans, and of course all the world champions that were there for us.
Like who? Like who? Can you give us some list?
Well, we had Evander Holyfield, had Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, George Foreman, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Jeff Fennick.
Like, that's not enough, Joe. You just listed like the 20 of the most exciting fighters.
Tommy Hitman Hearns.
Oh, my.
I mean, they were all there. Donito Donaire. It was just a bunch of fighters, and watching these fellas. I mean, watching these fighters.
Any current fighters there?
Yeah, they were current, but not on the stage. But they had some current, like Sean Porter was there.
Oh, there we go.
Leo Santa Cruz.
Another champion?
Yeah. Caleb Plant was there.
There's another champion, super middleweight.
Yeah, junior. He's the WBA's 168-pound champion.
Yes, sir.
He was there with his fiancée. And I remember when he proposed to her that night when he won the super middleweight championship a couple of months back. And unfortunately, his mom got shot and got killed about a month and a half after he won the title.
God, and about a year before that, he lost his daughter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were so sad, and he's such a nice guy. We spoke last night.
His mom got shot by the cops. That's a crazy story.
Yeah, but who knows what happened there?
No, I'm not. No, I'm just saying that's a crazy way to go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nuts.
I think they were so anyway. Whatever.
Yeah. I don't want to speak on it either. I'm just saying that's a crazy thing. But yeah, and he's another guy that he's been on your show, the Joe Cortez show you do on Tuesdays online, and he's an awesome guest. He's an awesome guy. He was the kind of guy that, you know what, like I knew Uzcategui and I was rooting for Uzcategui, and then I watched these interviews and these they were doing the breakdowns with Caleb, and it just he came out of it really rooting for him, and that's the only reason I say that. is because I really feel that way about Danny Jacobs after this fight. I knew Danny Jacobs. I knew, his story. They call him the Miracle Man for a million reasons. But after really going into researching it, the stuff he's been through. I mean, when he lost his fight to Pirog, he had the only fight he's ever lost other than Triple G. He had a tumor wrapped around his spine, Joe. They didn't know if he'd ever walk again. They thought it was over for him. And 19 months later, he came in and knocked out a guy in the first round. I mean, talk about a bounce back,
Yeah, he's a gentleman too as well. I like his style. Plus, most importantly, he's a very disciplined fighter.
Yes,
and he's very well grounded and humble. And these are kind of fighters that you want to see go places in boxing. But tonight he's gonna have his hands full.
Yeah, with the biggest and the best in the sport.
He's gonna have his hands full against one of the toughest middleweights out there, Canelo Alvarez. Now I know you fans out there probably gonna say, "Well, we're gonna watch this fight tonight." This program is on there on DAZN. It's a program you have to buy online, and it's not something you're gonna watch on regular TV.
It's an app, so you stream it like you would if you have a smart TV or a Fire Stick or any kind of other console that you watch Netflix from or anything else, any kind of airport. And so you just download the app DAZN, the DAZN or DAZN, and it's $20 a month or $100 for the year. But it's still cheaper than what Canelo's last pay-per-view fight was. What, I think $89,
$70.
$79. Yeah. That's not even the HD.
Yeah, but anyway, the thing is that it's a way to try to catch these fights, and a lot of fans are still a little lost about. Oh, I don't know how to do this online. But a lot of young folks know how to do it. Very easily, you get the app and sign up, and you can.
It's easier than it sounds. I promise. I was a little. I went and did it last week, and I watched the Estrada fight on my phone.
Yeah.
And then I watched. You know what I mean? And then I was able to get it set up on my Fire Stick, watch all the lead up stuff to the fight this week, and then I'm going to be able to watch it on my TV tonight. So it actually really is easy. It's just.
Yeah, Eddie Hearns is doing a great job putting these fights together.
And John Skipper too.
Yeah, they signed up Canelo Alvarez for $365 million. I mean, yeah, you heard that right.
Say it again, Joe.
$365 million for 11 fight deal, which averages around $33 million per fight.
Oh my God!
Which is not chump change. When I started thinking,
and he's fighting how many times a year?
Yeah, about twice a year.
So that's what, $66 million a year?
Yeah, that's not chump change.
That's more than. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's more than Ronaldo. It's more than LeBron James. It's more than Mike Trout. It's the highest paid athlete in the world.
Yeah, it's more than I will ever get a year. That's for sure.
It's more than I make. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, but I'll tell you that I remember back in the days when we watched Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, and they said they got these big purses of $3-4 million a piece. Wow, that was big money back then in the '60s. Yeah, that was big money.
But Magic Johnson signed a 25-year contract for $25 million, $1 million a year, and that was the biggest contract ever at the time.
Exactly.
That's just crazy.
So you can imagine how these fighters making this kind of money today is like unheard of. But I mean, with Floyd Mayweather. When he fought Manny Pacquiao,
that's $600 million.
It was a big fight, and he walked away with a good chunk of change.
Yeah, I don't know what his exact cut was, but that was how much that fight made, which is insane.
It's insane. Then when he fought Mayweather,
McGregor,
Conor McGregor, who never fought ever in the ring,
never fought a professional boxing
in boxing with the gloves on, and that was his first fight. He made a cool $100 million.
Cool $100 million, first ever pro fight.
Yeah.
How much you make in your first pro fight?
I don't know, about $10.
$10? Yeah, maybe.
No.
And you had to split it with your trainer.
I mean, come on. it was the third. No, but back in the day, when I was boxing, 4 or 6 round fights, they were $500. That was it. And today, some of those fighters still get that.
Yeah.
For 4 round fights.
No, it happens all the time.
But you get these fighters. Sometimes they come out of the Olympics, and they're top notch fighters, and these promoters want to sign him up, and they give him a nice
Lomachenko.
They give him a nice contract for $500,000 million just to sign up with them. But they know that these fighters have the potential to go all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Sugar Ray Leonard did, when he was and Oscar De La Hoya. You can see they were superstars. And now we got this other kid coming up, Devin Haney, and we'll talk about him briefly. Fans, just hang on there for a few minutes. We'll be right back with more exciting talk about the Canelo Alvarez and Danny Jacobs fight tonight. Welcome back again to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Actually, I always say the Joe Cortez Show, but
Yeah, what do you do that for?
That's my show on Tuesday. I'm always stuck in that, and I'm always thinking that like a week in advance.
We did this show twice. You only do that one once.
Yeah, the Fair but Firm Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we say the boxing capital of the world. And guys, I'll tell you again, like I said before, tonight being the middleweight championship of the world, Canelo Alvarez and Danny Jacobs, going to be an interesting fight. We just when we went into a commercial, we were talking about Devin Haney, whom I represent, part of their team, and Devin Haney is fighting a kid named Moran on the 25th of May up in Baltimore, Maryland. That fight will be shown on DAZN as well. Eddie Hearn signed up Devin Haney for his big fight, and Devin Haney, a 19-year-old kid with a great unblemished record, and he seems to be the rising star in boxing, along with Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, Shakur Stevenson showed last week that he looks outstanding.
Yeah, there's a couple of young fighters up and coming. These are the fighters that will probably be facing each other down the line.
I hope so, man. They look good. And
They're all superstars. You got Ryan Garcia as well.
Ooh, yeah.
A Golden Boy. So they got a bunch of good lightweights coming up, and eventually these fighters will end up going to super lightweight, and then eventually welterweights. Well, Devin Haney's got the youth on his side, the younger of the bunch at 19 years of age.
Yeah, he's outstanding too. And he's got the body, and he's got the speed and the power, and he's just unbelievable.
Yeah, he's like another Sugar Ray Leonard when Sugar Ray Leonard was coming up. I think that this kid Devin Haney's got a little bit more on his boxing skills. I mean, he's really sharp, and
he's like a better Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah. I mean, to say that about a fighter.
Sugar Ray Leonard's like the best that ever did.
Oh, Sugar Ray Leonard is one of my favorites of all time.
Absolutely.
I had the honor of refereeing him against Hector Macho Camacho.
What was that like? What was that experience?
Well,
like?
it was sad night of boxing because it was the first and only time that Sugar Ray Leonard got stopped, and it was sad for me to jump in and stop it.
Yeah, that would be.
But Camacho had put him down in the previous round, and when he had him hurt up against the ropes, Sugar Ray Leonard's knees buckled. When they buckled, I jumped in, I stopped it, and he whispered in my ear, "Thanks, Joe." You know, and he knew that he didn't have it that night. But
sometimes you don't have it.
But he walked away with a cool $3 million, and he was already retired a number of years. He came back for that easy paycheck. He thought that Camacho, who was not a puncher, was not going to be
able to put him down. He thought he'd be able to be slick and outbox him because he's Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah, he said he's not going to be a threat to me. Camacho can't punch, and Camacho.
Oh yeah, he could punch.
He was able to stop Leonard. But I saw Sugar Ray Leonard last night. He looks great. He still looked like he's fighting weight.
Did you see him work the bag like a few months ago?
Yeah,
when they showed him on the. Yeah, he was on Instagram.
He looks almost as good as I do.
No, he almost.
Yeah.
I see you on that speed bag. You still got it, bro.
Yeah. Sugar Ray Leonard still got a little spark of the old flash.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to.
I believe he just turned 60 this year, so he's a young man that looks sharp and very charismatic.
He always has been, though, just handsome and charismatic. Yeah, he's been doing a lot more media lately, which I like.
Yeah.
I like seeing him in front of the camera. So has his old foe, Roberto Duran, by the way, who I know you ran into yesterday also.
Yeah, Roberto Duran looks sharp, you know.
What's got these guys out from under their rock they've been hiding under? Is it just because boxing's gotten so big in the last couple of years that they need more? Well,
these guys, they bring him out for these special events. I mean, everybody wants to be around the biggest fight of the year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so these guys really come up and try to show their give their presence to the boxing fans. Because no matter what, you could have been one of the great ones in your division in your era, but these guys they're still hungry for that attention from the fans.
Course.
When the fans come up to see these guys, it's just amazing. That's why last night here in Las Vegas, the whole day walking through some of these hotels, it was like the electricity in the air.
Oh God,
it's like never before. Only for these big fights.
I know. I was out on the Strip on Thursday, and I felt it too. It's just cool being out there, out for fight night. And everyone who works on the Strip, I'm sure, is driving around probably feels it. They might hate it, but it's always cool because, like we were talking about earlier, man, it really does feel like fight night in Las Vegas right now for Cinco de Mayo weekend, and it's fun to have it back to the buzz that you can really only have from big fight nights here in Las Vegas.
I was being interviewed yesterday at some other radio station about the Canelo Alvarez and the Danny Jacobs fight. And they were saying, Joe, how come that the Mexicans fans are not really that much behind Canelo Alvarez? I said, well, they think back before he fought Triple G, that he was dodging Triple G, and he wasn't dodging him. Oscar De La Hoya,
he was waiting his time and marinating.
Golden Boy was trying to do the right thing and say, there'll be a right time to fight this guy, Triple G. They try to make as much money as they could for Canelo Alvarez, which he did. But it took him a good 4 years before the fight was made, and. But the fans still think that Canelo hasn't fought anybody of any importance, anybody with any big name. I say, he really hasn't dodged anybody. I mean, he goes to prove it. Like tonight, he's fighting Danny Jacobs.
It'd be a big win for him tonight.
Yeah, one of the most dangerous fighters in the middleweight division. So I think the fans got to start shifting because they felt like what happens in the Triple G fight, the first one, they felt that he did not come out.
enough.
He did not do enough. He was not aggressive, and they said, he talked a lot of smack before the fight, and never did anything in the first fight.
And then the lead up to the rematch after a controversial win or a controversial draw. And he fails a drug test and has to sit out a suspension. It's just a lot of stuff that's happened that is, sure to rub the boxing fan the wrong way. And Mexican fight fans are huge boxing fans. I do have a question, though. I think I've been trying to think about it. Usually the face of boxing, right, over the past, I don't know, since its inception, the face of the sport. I can't think of another time where it wasn't an American guy. I mean, even when it was Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya is American. He's from America. He has Hispanic roots. But the pulse of boxing, the heart of boxing, has always been in Mexico for the last, 60 years, 50 years, where it's really kind of transferred from America to Mexico, and at least the last 30, 40 where it's really happened. But this is the first time I can think of where the biggest star in the sport is from Mexico. And it is interesting that he's not embraced the way a lot, Julio Cesar Chavez or even like, El Terrible or Barrera or a lot of these other guys who really were embraced by their, compatriots like that. Does it feel a little strange to you that that's going on, or you think it's just not time yet?
It's all a matter of timing. I mean, it's because he had those questionable.
And those were just in the last year. So you think he'll, this would erase all that?
I think that he's going places. He's going to be one of the superstars in boxing if he's not already.
Well, yeah.
And he's definitely, people will start forgiving him of what happened in the past. He was young, and and he's sometimes these fighters talk a good fight, but when they get in the ring, they start feeling the power of their opponent.
Especially when it's Gennady Golovkin. Yeah.
Yeah. Then they got to go to B plan, but I think Canelo now is really showing that he's beat Triple G already,
yes,
and he's shown to the world. I think give him a vote of confidence of his abilities in the ring. And I think tonight's fight is going to be interesting, where Canelo going to be doing a lot of slipping, a lot of the good defense, using the angles.
A lot of good counter punching.
Yeah, it's going to be the first 6 rounds going to be very competitive. But after the 6th round, Danny Jacobs is going to be feeling the power punches, the body shots from Canelo.
And that's what I feel. That's what I think too.
Canelo's going to be the aggressor the second half. And I believe between the 8th and the 9th round, I'm going to give you my answer. But first, we're going to go into a little brief commercial.
There we go.
Don't go away
big
because
prediction.
I got a big prediction after this commercial. Oh, welcome back again to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hey, you think I'm doing that on purpose? The Fairbow Firm Show here in Las Vegas with Joe Cortez and my co-host John Zimmel.
Hello.
Of course, this is a Joe Cortez show.
It is. No, it's your show.
It's my show, buddy.
It's your show. Yeah, I get it.
Anyway, fans of the Fairbow Firm Show, we've been running this show for going a little close to over 2 years now.
Yeah, it's getting close.
And we're trying to get you fans more involved and keeping you up to date with the latest in boxing, and especially what's going on tonight. Before we went into that little brief commercial, I was talking to you about my favorite tonight, the outcome of the fight tonight. Well, John, let me tell you.
Let me hear it, brother.
That Canelo Alvarez brings a lot to this fight tonight.
Oh, yeah.
However, Danny Jacobs is going to be a very, very difficult opponent for him.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Jacobs has the reach, the height.
Yes, sir.
And Canelo is going to be coming in. Canelo, after the first 6 rounds, is going to be competitive. After the 6th round, they're going to be mixing it up, and Canelo is going to be using good defense, walking and cutting the corner, cutting the ring on Danny Jacobs. He's going to start with his body shots. I mean, he's going to already be throwing some good body shots at the beginning of the fight.
And just breaking him down. He loves working that
after the 6th round, you're going to see that Danny Jacobs
slow down.
He's not going to be moving as quick as he was in the first half. Slow him down. They're going to get him up against the ropes and get him probably in the corner. That's a danger zone. Anything against close to the ropes or in the corner is very, very dangerous.
Especially for Canelo Alvarez, because he's got that killer uppercut. If you duck down and prevent those body shots, he will destroy you with that big uppercut.
Yeah, so he's going to be throwing the uppercut, left hook, but mainly that left hook to the liver.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the one that the signature punch for, what's the name? Julio Cesar Chavez.
Yes, sir.
And who has the best body left hook to the liver. Julio Cesar Chavez was the master of that. But Canelo Alvarez is a middleweight, and when he throws the body punches, believe me, they are dangerous. And I can see him stopping Danny Jacobs between the 9th and the 10th round.
What's the score of the fight when he takes him down?
It'll be very, very close.
Very close, right?
It'll be very close. It'll be maybe 5-4 in rounds.
There we go.
And,
I love that.
I see Canelo with the edge on that. And then by the 9th or 10th round, I can see the technical knockout by referee stopping it.
I love that.
But Tony Weeks will be a very competent referee.
Tony Weeks is outstanding.
And he'll be out there watching for the safety of the fighters. And I think with a body shot, Danny Jacobs goes down, he may not get back up after that body shot.
No.
He'll be in pain. They say you kill a body, the head dies, and I think that's what's going to happen tonight.
So
But
if that happens, when that happens, if that happens, Canelo Alvarez now is the WBC, WBO, IBF middleweight champion. He has 3 of the 4 belts. Andrade's got the other one. He just beat the second best middleweight in the world by knockout in the middle rounds. What does that say for his career? What does that do for the fans that were turned off originally? What does that do for him, as a pound-for-pound fighter? Where does that place him as a top Mexican fighter of all time? Well, I mean, where does he end up at the end of all that?
Well, with this type of a win, it'll definitely secure him a good position in the top 3 fighters pound for pound today.
Okay.
And as far as being pound for pound in the Mexican fighters, I said we have to wait a couple of more fights for me to determine that. He's about to break into that league of the legends of all time from Mexico.
Agreed.
He's not at that position yet, but he will.
You think he's top 10 yet?
He's one of the top 10. Yes.
I think he's top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, but not in one of the top 2 or 3.
No, definitely not. No, I agree with you
Julio
there.
Cesar Chavez to replace
Numero uno,
Chavez.
yeah.
He's number 1 to replace Chavez. It's going to take a lot of doing. You're going to have to probably knock out a couple of top-notch middleweights and then fight maybe some of the other.
Yeah, bounce around and go up and beat Kovalev or something.
There was some talk last night that he was talking about fighting in the light heavyweight division. He wanted to challenge Kovalev.
Yeah, he's been saying that,
You
man.
know? And we
I
could
would
go
watch that.
up there and then beat the Kovalev
That'd be fun.
and become one of the best ones
Yeah.
in the light heavyweight division. They're going back down to 68 to defend.
He's got his WBA regular title, which
yeah.
he might be able to unify the WBA titles, fight Callum Smith or somebody like that.
and then go back to the middleweight division. I think he's better just hang around the middleweight division.
That's where he owns the middleweight division.
and
at this point.
he should stay there because that's where he's going to make some good, decent money. And
There's talk of him fighting Errol Spence.
Yeah.
Do you think that's smart for either?
Well, it'll be a good fight for Errol Spence, but Errol Spence is only a welterweight.
Yeah,
And
I
for
don't
him-
think it's smart for Errol Spence to go up that
not
much
yet,
weight.
Not
man.
yet. He's not ready to go up to 160.
He's just not that big.
But I see him eventually going up to 160, Errol Spence, but that's going to take another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, he's just not that tall, man.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting. Well, Errol Spence is about a 5'8".
Yeah, I guess he's
5'9".
pretty standard
You know,
middleweight.
and,
He's pretty thick, too. He's he's not Canelo thick.
But Canelo's like a bull in that ring.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
I mean, he comes out at you, and he's going to really put the pressure on you. And
It was like Mikey Garcia going up to fight Errol. It's just a different. There's weight classes for a reason, you know.
But I'll tell you that Canelo Alvarez is he's for red-headed, freckle-faced Mexican, which you don't find.
No, sir.
I mean, he's like one of a kind, this kid. I mean, he has so much talent and so much charisma. I mean, he's not one of those guys that's out there. He's not a jokester. He's more serious about everything.
Yeah, he is. He lets his promotional team and his fights do the talking. He's not the best personality to have the face of the sport, but he is one of the best skilled fighters to have the face of the sport.
Well, talking about personality, I mean, Mike Tyson had no personality. I mean,
he did though. No, he carried with him a kind of an air of invincibility. He was a moment. Mike Tyson was a
but
moment.
Mike was always like very serious. And
Yeah, you're right.
And he did his talking in the ring with his fists.
He also did some talking outside of the ring too, Joe.
Yeah,
I mean,
he did. He did.
You go on YouTube, you can find some pretty funny
exactly.
interviews.
Yeah, exactly. He said some things to Lennox Lewis. I'm gonna eat your kids.
Yeah.
You know, and all kind of stuff like
He
that.
said some stuff that we can't say out here.
Yeah, exactly. But he was an amazing guy. I saw him last night. He looked
good
pretty.
people.
He looked pretty good last night. He looked like he's lost some weight. I mean, he looked like he weighed about 230.
Yeah?
Yeah, the most. I think.
Making a comeback?
I don't know. I don't think he's making a comeback. One of the Klitschko's brothers was there last night. The guy
Was he? Which one?
The one who's the mayor.
Oh, Vitaly.
Yeah, Vitaly. He was there last night, and
He's the mayor of Kiev.
Yeah, that's right. And he's a nice young man as well. I remember looking at all these fighters I'm talking about right now, man.
When they were coming up, right?
Yeah,
Young Klitschko.
I referee all these guys back in the day. To this day, sometimes I got to pinch myself to think that I referee all
You
these
look at them
fighters.
and you think they look so old, you know, like because you look so young still, but they're they
I'll
got older.
tell you guys are making me want to make a comeback.
You should.
And not as a referee, as a fighter. As a fighter, man, I still got the spark, a little spark of the old Flash.
You versus Tyson? Let's set it up.
Hey, you know, I got some stuff on the internet. Tyson knocks out Joe Cortez.
Yeah.
Hey, fans out there watching, it is not me and Tyson. It is another Joe Cortez who was a heavyweight back in the 80s. Back in the 80s, guys. Come on, you guys know I was
Speaking
refereeing.
of Hispanic heavyweights, Andy Ruiz Jr., you know,
Yeah.
he's going to be fighting for the championship.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, guys, all I can say is that tonight, don't miss the fight on DAZN. It's going to be a good fight. Danny Jacobs against old Canelo Alvarez. They both got to keep their guards up at all times. Just like I told my fans out there, keep your guards up at all times, protect yourselves at all times, and remember, I'm fair but I'm firm. John, let's go get them.
Touch them up, baby.
All right.